Have you ever held something in the palm of your hand that was so tiny, so fragile, you were almost afraid to breathe? That's exactly how it felt the day I met Beeps. She came to us on March 30th, probably just a few hours old. She weighed a mere 88 grams. That's just 3.1 ounces. She was this tiny, dirty little scrap of life, and she was so weak. When we tried to feed her, she didn't have much of a suckling response. She'd latch on for a moment, take a few little sips, and then just stop. She was too tired to continue. Those first 3 days were critical. It was a constant, round-the-clock effort. Every single hour, we were there with the bottle, trying to get a little bit of formula into her. We also had to give her subcutaneous fluids just to make up for what she wasn't able to eat. We were just trying to get enough strength into that tiny body to keep her going. She had some dirt in her fur and one giant flea on this tiny body. You know, we didn't even have a brush small enough for her, so we improvised. The smallest thing I could find was a soft bottle brush. And you know what? It worked perfectly to gently get the dirt out. She was just so small. Just when we thought we were getting somewhere, that she was starting to thrive a little, things took a turn. A bad turn. I noticed some redness around her umbilical cord, and in a matter of just a few hours, it swelled into this large, alarming lump. We rushed her to the emergency vet. The diagnosis was umphalitis, a severe infection. The vet gave her a poor prognosis. They basically told us to be prepared and to return if she needed, well, a quality of life exam. It's the conversation no rescuer ever wants to have. When we got her home, we saw the infection had even spread into the joint in her leg. But I looked at this little kitten, this tiny fighter, and I knew she wasn't ready to give up. So we started the antibiotics. And through it all, Beeps just kept doing her part. She kept eating, and she purred. Can you believe that? This tiny creature fighting a massive infection that the vets thought would take her, and she was happy and purring. Her little motor was just constantly running while she fought. It took a few days for the swelling to go down, but it did. A scab formed on her leg, but she healed. She kept gaining weight. She was winning. Of course, it couldn't be that simple. Just 2 days after the umbilical cord diagnosis, I noticed her right eye was swelling up. She was only 4 days old. Her eyes weren't even supposed to be open yet. So we started a new routine. Warm compresses, antibiotic ointment for her eye, cream on her belly for the other infection. Poor Beeps, she was just a little mess. She had also started suckling on her paws to self-soothe, so they were always covered in milk. But she took it all like a champ. And then the magic starts to happen. You see the fighter turn into, well, a kitten. I remember catching her on video when she was just a week old, trying to groom herself. This tiny, wobbly thing, already so determined to be clean and proper. And as she got a little bigger, she was always rolling around, purring. It was like she was celebrating just being alive. We knew she needed a friend, so we gave her a little stuffed bird toy, and it was instant love. She'd just lay there, this tiny kitten with her little bird, contemplating another nap. Her personality really started to pop. We set up a little work-from-home station for her, and let me tell you, she was a completely unproductive employee. She spent more time cleaning her tiny little nails than doing any actual work. And then there was the great discovery of, well, her own feet. She was completely fascinated. You could just see her thinking, what are these things and why are they attached to me? It was the most adorable thing watching her try to get her paws and clean them. Soon, she graduated to the big playpen. She looked so tiny in this big new space, but she wanted to run. She started playing for real. We gave her one of those little plastic spring toys, and oh, the drama! First, she gets the spring, pure joy. Then she plays with the spring, batting it all over the place. And then she loses the spring under a blanket. The tragedy. Until we found it for her, of course. Everything was a grand adventure. And she even got to meet another kitten, a little one named Shadow. It was so good for her to have a real playmate. But the biggest milestone? The day she tried solid food. We gave her a little bit of Gerber chicken baby food on a spoon, and she liked it. She actually liked it. It was such a huge step. Finally, a taste of the good life beyond the bottle. Playtime with her was just my favorite part of the day. And let me tell you about ferocious Beeps versus, well, my toes. It was an epic battle waged under the blankets every single morning. She would pounce and wrestle with my feet like they were her greatest foe. She was also getting her teeth in and testing them out on everything, especially the blankets. She'd just beat them up with all her might. She also discovered that cardboard is apparently everything. The best toy, the best bed, the best scratcher. A simple cardboard box was her kingdom. Of course, with all that kitten energy, sometimes she got a little, well, carried away. There were definitely moments where I had to say, okay, someone is going back to the kitten room for a timeout. You have to be a little bit of a parent, you know? But then you'll see her passed out, fast asleep, with one paw holding her own tail down, as if to keep it from waking her up, and your heart just melts all over again. Looking at her now, this healthy, playful, feisty little cat who loves hiding under blankets and attacking springs, it's hard to remember that tiny 3-ounce creature who was fighting for her life. Every purr, every pounce, every time she attacks a cardboard box, it's a victory. She's not just a rescue story, she's a story about strength, about the will to live, and about how a little bit of love and, yeah, a bottle brush can make all the difference in the world. She's our little miracle, Beeps.